Hey everyone, Steve Poland here, and I show my display tanks a lot, but mostly when I talk about them, I only talk about the fish. I did a few videos early on about my drip system and some other technical things, but I thought it'd be cool to give you just a full walkthrough of the equipment on both of my display tanks that are here within my living area of my home. So this week I'm going to do my 125 gallon all-male peacock and hap tank. And normally I try to film at night so there isn't so much glare, but this time it's daytime and I'm going to actually go ahead and flip on the overhead lights in this room and just go through and show you everything on this tank. So the tank itself is an Aqueon. I bought it brand new, mostly because I hate scratches and I definitely didn't want any scratches on my display tank. This stand is a custom stand that I got with a different tank, a different 6-foot tank, and it is rock solid. I'll show you a little bit more once we get inside it, but it's really sturdy stand. And then the canopy I got separately, and it's also custom made and it almost matches a bit, which is kind of nice. And both of them I painted black myself just with flat paint. And I did add these hinges to the top, and what's nice about these hinges is that I can flip this open and it will just stay. Obviously I didn't paint the inside of it. So it's nice to just be able to flip that open and not worry about it falling down on me, so that I can feed the fish or do whatever I have to do inside without worrying about it. And then the other thing that I did to the stand, since I have young children, is I added a couple of locks, key locks, so that when they come by they pull on them and the doors won't open. And believe me, they pull on them all the time, even though they know the doors won't open. But they're toddlers, so. Okay, so I'm going to take the canopy off of here, so give me 1 second. Okay, canopy's off. On this tank, the light that I use, and I did a whole video about lighting on this tank. I will link to that video down in the description. I will link to really everything that I talk about in this video down in the description. This is the current Satellite LED Plus, which is a really nice LED light. It's very customizable. It has a remote control. You can tweak just about every setting on it. It's got all kinds of bells and whistles, but I just really like it because you can mess around with the colors and get it any kind of, you can get it really dark if you want, you can get it really bright, you can do just different tones of color. And then this tank, when I bought it from a guy, it was brand new, but I did buy it from a guy on Craigslist. It came with these 2 strip lights. I very rarely use them for anything. I don't run fluorescent lights on any of my tanks that I leave on for any period of time. I just have these on here. I'll flip them on when I'm cleaning, just to give myself some extra light in there, which is nice. And they kind of block out some of the light from this LED from hitting the back of the tank, which I like a lot. So those are kind of just on there, sitting there most of the time, not doing much. If I move this one out of the way, you can see the drip system. So this is where it comes in, and it's pretty grody back here, but it just gets like that. So you can see it dripping in there. Just a nice steady pace. And this tubing comes from my drip system that's down there. I have a whole video about that if you want to know more. This clip, this is like an 80-cent clamp here, this clip from Harbor Freight. But the drip system, the other side, the key is this overflow box. It's an eShops overflow box. If you can see kind of down in the tank, it's black, so it just blends in with the background, which I really like. You would never even really know it's there if you're looking at the tank. It is way bigger than what I need. These are really intended for, as an overflow for, like, if you have a reef tank and you have a sump, or even if you just have a regular tank and you have a sump. So these can handle a lot of flow. I bought this biggest one because it's got the 2 tubes on here, so that if I lose a siphon in one tube, I've got a backup. Again, went into detail on that on the drip system video, but it's really nice to have that. It just sits there and overflows down, and that runs to the wall here. And that tube gets a little bit gross, but so this is the drip coming in from downstairs. This is the drain down to downstairs. So that's really what's going on up top on this tank. My filters, if I open this up down here, Let me get a little more light. So this is the biggest filter, Eheim 2260. It is awesome. It's just a big, huge bucket with a pump on top. And these things come with a cover. I don't have the cover on it because there's really no point. You never see it. Filter does a great job. Can't really show you, obviously, what's inside it. It's just media and some filter floss. And it just does a great job. And then I've got two Eheim 2217s. The Eheim Classic series is like my favorite filters of all time, and they do a great job as well. You can kind of see inside of them, and really, again, it's pretty straightforward. Just filter media, some floss in there, kind of thrown together really from stuff I had, but I run that pinky filter in there. Really like those. So each of these Eheim 2217s flows through a DIY external heater, and again, did a video about that, but haven't really shown you what all this stuff looks like actually sitting here underneath my tanks. So it comes off the output of the 2217s, flows through those. As you can see, the heater sticks out the top, and then it flows into the tank. So I get great even heat throughout the entire tank. Really love that. And then one of these 2217s, I'll go around the side so you can see it better. One of the 2217s flows through this bad boy, which is an Emperor 25 watt UV sterilizer. So when I talked about UV sterilizers a few weeks ago in a video, this is the big one that I run on this tank, and it does a great job. I mean, it's rated. You could have this thing on like a pond. It's pretty oversized for this tank, honestly, but it came with those 2217s that I bought from someone. Shock of a lifetime on Craigslist. So these filters, the outputs on them and the inputs, you can see up here in the tank. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this overhead light off again. And I might actually go ahead and just flip on these strip lights so that you can see back in there a bit better. On my 2217s, I replaced the stock intake and output with these kits. I actually got these on Amazon. They're made by Eheim. They call them the installation set, and there's a bunch of different numbers because they have different sizes, but I like these a lot better. They look really bright right now when I turn that light on, but the stock Eheim of these, like the ones that come with the filters, are bright green, which if you have a planted tank, that looks awesome. I mean, they hide in there, you'd never see them, but in a tank like this, where the background is black, you can do two things. You can either paint these black, which I actually did because Eheim does not make a big enough for this 2260. The filter output, the spray bar, I was able to get one because it's smaller, but God, these fish are freaking out. Sorry, I'm kicking up all this garbage, and they're in the way, of course. But this overflow here, this intake, it's bigger, and they don't make the installation set for it, unfortunately. So I just painted it black, and you can see how well that went. You can paint it with spray paint that is not toxic to the fish. It's not going to leach out into the aquarium, but anytime you mess around with it, the paint kind of flakes off, so that's very annoying. So fortunately, I only have one that is like that. I need to take it out and repaint it at some point, but that's easier said than done because I don't want to be down without that filter at any point. So that's the intake and spray bar on that one. The other two look like that, and when the lights are off, you can hardly see them, which is awesome. The other thing that I have in this tank, up here in the corner, sorry there's so much glare, but up here in the corner is just a little Aqueon power head that is just causing a little bit of surface agitation here. And that's because these spray bars are great. They spray a lot. The flow through these filters is a lot, but none of them, like the top hole is not that close to the surface. And whereas I do have the overflow box that helps a lot with the, keeping the surface from getting stale, I just like to have a little extra, so I've got this thing running. It's really low power, not a huge deal, so doesn't bother me at all to run that. So that is the equipment on this tank. this big 125 display tank. I could not be happier with the way this tank looks pretty much all the time. I get good feedback on it. I overfilter. You know, having these 3 filters is definitely overfiltering, but I cannot recommend enough that everyone overfilter just in general. If you have any questions about this, I'm going to do the 90 gallon that's here right behind me. I'm going to do that next week. If you have any questions about any of the equipment that I've shown here, anything that I forgot to cover, please let me know down in the comments. And as always, if this is your first time here at this channel, then I would love to have you subscribe, because each week I bring you a new video sharing my experiences in the aquarium hobby. I give updates on my tanks, review products, show you DIY projects, and share tips and tricks to help you take your tank to the next level. Hit subscribe to follow along. Have a good one.